It's coming back. It's coming back October 19th. We are jazzed for this. That's why you see this mixer here. I bought this one of the main reasons so I can do the marathon without having audio issues last year and the year before.
Yeah, these podcasts are kind of an incognito way for us to slowly test our setup without Pat and I killing each other prior to the marathon.
We'll get to that, because the first year we were going to kill each other.
First year we were totally
We have a new webcam, which is a lot better. It's a Logitech. It's the #1 rated webcam. I looked it up, and I bought it for the marathon. And it has a built-in H.264 compressor inside so that it's smoother. I think it's, even looking at us podcasting, we're getting closer to 30 frames. It's closer than we got last week, which was probably like 15. So nice. It looks better. It's going to be good. I'm happy about that. So yeah, the marathon started, just let's give you guys some background, in 2010, because it was the 25th anniversary of the NES in North America. No one was doing anything for it, first of all, which I thought was really not disrespectful. People don't realize it, but remember, that's what kickstarted video games again in America, at least at the home level. And obviously I love the NES, and so I figured, why not do something? And we did it, you know, for Child's Play charity. We raised, I think, $7 or $8 grand the first year.
Yeah, about $8 grand. I remember the story thusly. I remember you calling me up and being like, hey, the 25th anniversary of the Nintendo is, you know, in October. And I remember you saying it almost exactly as this. You're like, do you have any plans for it? Like I was going to bake a freaking cake or something.
You should have.
And I was like,
I want NES cupcakes.
And I said no, and you said I had this idea where maybe, you know, we would sit down and, you know, because at that point in time, even 4 years ago, these live streams and these web streams weren't nearly as big as they are now.
Not even a few years ago they weren't.
Yeah, and you're like, maybe we could, you know, do something for that. And I believe I had mentioned, I said, you know, there was that, you know, that Mario marathon. I said, I bet you'd be really easy to attach a charity to this. I said, and we could go for like 24 hours. And you're like, yeah. And we very nonchalantly decided that this was just going to be something we did for a weekend, not realizing the amount of work we were getting into. The first year. And
plus, I wanted to play every game, which in retrospect was probably the worst fucking thing I could have possibly.
The first year was my favorite and least favorite year for that reason. It was the most interesting because we decided through the course of a couple of phone conversations
that we're gonna go all out and play every game.
Yeah, you have to understand
at least for like 30 seconds each.
You have to understand that Pat and I didn't know each other that well at this point in time either. But we decided that we were going to. Well, Pat was going to play every game, and the format for how this was going to go down changed a number of times.
It did? I don't remember that part.
Initially, I don't mean the format of playing the games. I mean, initially, I wasn't even going to be on screen. I was going to be in the background, cleaning games, getting Nintendos ready until about 2 hours into the marathon. People are like, who's that guy with you running around? And I pulled up a chair, and I started interacting on the keyboard.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, I wasn't even going to be on camera.
You didn't want to. You were shy.
Yeah, I wasn't even going to be on camera.
I remember the software we used was something called Webcam Max, which was...
I'm pretty sure it was a virus.
It was a virus version. But it worked, but it was like touchy. Once we got it going, and the first year, remember, it was just literally no other graphics. It was us on one side and really bad webcam. Like the webcam I used original. No, the first year wasn't even the webcam. The first year was my DV camera, which I didn't realize when hooked up to a computer was no longer HD. It was SD.
Yeah.
On one side was that. The other side was the gameplay coming in through a really cheap $10 capture USB, and then like black all around. That was the first year.
Yeah.
So rudimentary. At the time, stuff like Wirecast wasn't really big. I don't think it even existed then. 3 years ago, it was.
It was new.
It was just new.
That year and the second year. Yeah.
So like that was all. There was maybe one or two programs you could use to splice together different. Now there's like there's XSplit. And there's I think open broadcasting system. All like those are free ones that are better than what we used the first year.
Yeah.
So the first year was horrific because all the games we pre-cleaned them.
Which we should point out that we pre-cleaned them, and it didn't matter.
It didn't matter.
Was the worst part.
It didn't matter. And pre-cleaning them probably took. I remember.
I think 24 man hours.
I took boxes.
Combined.
To 24 man hours more. I would have 8-hour sessions to make sure they work.
You brought them to full...
I brought boxes to you to clean
at work, and I would clean them at work. And it didn't matter because we still needed to clean, I would say, 75% of the games, and the systems were still dirty. And that was also the year where I proved to Pat that new 72-pin connectors don't necessarily mean a thing.
That's right.
Because the clean Nintendo pin one worked better and outlasted the new 72-pin connector one.
Yes, that's right.
What I loved about the first year was that it was two people who didn't know each other as well as they do now. So we played off each other interestingly.
We knew each other for the past year after I moved here.
But we also had 750 games that you played through at a rapid pace, which...
And you did too. You played some of them.
I played a couple of two-player ones with you, but I really didn't play much. What was interesting, though, was... What I loved most about the first year was that there were 750-plus things for us to comment on. The rapid-fire one-liners... The bizarreness of seeing everything change every 2 minutes.
That is true.
It was amazing. And while I will never want to do the marathon the way we did it the first year again.
No, we're never doing that again.
It was certainly comic gold.
It was. If the moments we got from the first marathon, I did NES marathon moment videos for the first year. I'm going to do them for the third year. The second year, we didn't have a lot of funny moments, believe it or not, compared to the first year. What was bizarre about it is that a lot of internet memes were created that first year in the chat. Moses Milk was the first year.
Yeah.
For example, that's one that somehow came to mind from a joke that one of us said. So Moses Milk was during Bible Adventures way back. That continued for the next 31 hours. Remember, the first year was 31 hours because of the game playing. Probably literally 6 to 7 hours was us re-cleaning the games.
Yeah.
Live. There were some games we worked on for 15, 20 minutes before they worked. And that was after I'd already tested them. Or you did on your system to make sure they worked.
Yeah.
Remember the one that didn't work? The one or two that didn't work? Two didn't work. Ultimate Stuntman didn't work.
At all. And Cowboy Kid, I had to go home and get my copy.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Not Cowboy Kid, Daydreamin' Davy.
I think afterwards either it worked again or...
your copy ended up working again, but the one that never ended up working was Stunt Kids, and we played it the second year. It was the first game we played.
Stunt Kids, totally ROM was gone. Chiller was gone, but I reordered a copy on Amazon literally like 5-6 days before it got here.
Yeah.
And the other one that was weird was Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters was very, very finicky. Like, it worked like barely once. So yeah, other than that, though, all the games play, which is why I love the NES. But yeah, that first year, just the prep, because, again, 2010, there wasn't a lot of, like, the software, like, if there was open broadcasting system software in 2010 versus now, versus what we use, the software would crash if you, like, looked at it weird.
Sure.
I remember once we got it going, we didn't touch it. We didn't look at it.
No, it didn't.
Not like
breathe
Wirecast, where you're manipulating Wirecast on the fly, you're changing the graphics view.
I still don't like to. I mean, 3 years going to be 4 years in, I still don't even like to look at that software once it gets up and running because of how touchy...
Originally? The first
year? It was originally. I'm still terrified.
Testing it crashed a lot. It didn't crash the first year either.
If we had crashed the first year, though, it would have been catastrophic. If we crashed second or third year, it would have set us back maybe 20 minutes. But if we crashed that first year, the thing was
we actually did. We crashed the second or third year. We crashed for like 15 minutes.
I don't know, but it was minimal.
Yeah.
The thing that this is worth mentioning is. The way it was set up the first year, and I know we weren't the first people to do this, but still everyone was kind of figuring it out. We tested multiple nights a week for 3 weeks leading up to make sure that everything was working fine, but nothing ever stayed the same. No. The settings never stayed the same. Nothing we ever did repeated itself with success.
Was that one motherboard fried? That was the first year.
Possibly. All I know is
this is why. Yeah. This is what happened. I had a pirated copy of XP on my computer since like 2003, 2004. And so it got to the point where Windows would just not let you update a pirated version anymore. It figured out, it finally got with it in terms of knowing who had a real version or not. So basically, we're talking, was it 2000? My motherboard was fine, but my XP, I got so much viruses. In 2010, I switched to Windows 7, or 2001. The whole point was either the motherboard got fried or I had to reinstall a new OS, and I couldn't figure anything out.
Well, and you had a couple bad USB ports that we didn't discover until we were testing things out.
That was like the second year, I think, too.
I mean, third year we didn't have many problems.
My computer with my computer literally had 8 USB ports. By the time I finally got rid of my desktop, maybe 4 worked out of the 8.
Yeah, which
just from wear and tear.
And the setup has gotten simpler. both in terms of how we do it and in terms of the amount of items we use to set up over the years.
It was complicated,
but it was overly complex.
We were at each other's throats.
Yes.
The mixer was not working.
No.
That you provided. We used it for the first 2 years. That mixer.
Yeah.
Correct? Actually, we used it for 3 years. We used it last year too.
Did we?
We
I thought we said fuck it. We mic'd the room last year. We didn't use the mixer last year. We couldn't figure it out.
Oh, that's right. But you know why?
Because one of the line-in ports finally blew out.
No. That's not why. Because the same capture device we used for the first 2 years, on the third year decided it didn't want to capture the sound anymore directly. So we mic'd ourselves and that. But you're right. We didn't use it. This year we're using this bad boy, and I can't wait because this is going to be awesome.
So the moral of the story is don't travel in time back 4 years and
3 years.
Try to do an NES marathon. 3 years.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
But it's going to be big this year, I think. Well, hopefully. It's nesmarathon.com if you want to donate and see the details. The video's out on YouTube. We're going to have a lot more quote-unquote celebrity cameos. They're celebrities to me. You know, internet personalities are going to be there. We're going to have lots of giveaways.
I'm sure we'll find some cool giveaways. I've already got another
Game Boy?
another really nice modified Game Boy and LSDJ this year. Not even Nano Loop. I got the creme de la creme of chiptune tracking programs to give away this year. So that's just the tip of what we'll hopefully have to offer.
Yeah. And then also, we're taking sponsors again. We really love the sponsors. Like VideoGameAuctions.com has been great to us the past couple of years. Portland Retro Gaming Expo. Retroware has been a good sponsor.
I have a lot of fun doing the readouts. I like doing them in wacky voices as we get later on.
The live reads. I was thinking about changing to just recording the audio beforehand, but no, I think it's better we do it.
I like doing the live reads.
We'll do it live.
One of my favorite moments from last year was the off the cuff live read I gave for Clan of the Grey Wolf. I don't really remember it. I just remember it was ridiculous.
I gotta look for that marathon moment then. I wish I gotta scrub through.
I think
I gotta scrub through 27 hours of footage.
I think Rue said something in the chat like that was worth my sponsorship donation right there. And
did you yell it or scream it?
It said nothing about the site really in general. I just spun some nonsense.
Well, to be honest, Rue couldn't say anything about his site. He just a little content on it. But,
So yeah, second and third year, those were fun. I think the memories of the second and third year more than anything reside in the viewers. When you're up for that long, things tend to bleed. And I don't think it was a matter of us being less funny or less interesting second year was, and third year was good too. But
the second year was new software tech, which looked a lot better. The second and third year, the tech was similar. This year it's going to be different, a lot different. The first 2 years, second and third, it was transition. The testing was second year. I think went so much smoother because the software was better.
Oh yeah, I'm just saying the second year was probably the slowest because it was the one with the least amount of changing stimuli. Sure. Last year we had plenty of people donating for games. Second year I think we just had donation tiers for games and levels we had to meet. So, there's only so much you can talk about.
What did we do? We had a
Commando. Before.
What did we have the second year? Second year we had 100 different things to hit.
I think it was 150 different games to hit.
We had hit 15 grand, which we did.
Yeah.
And the last one was the 2 NWC cards. That was 2000.
Yeah. Which I think was still probably our best conclusion. I don't think we'll ever do. Did we do that last year?
No.
We didn't do it as a closer. We might have. Okay, yeah.
No, we did it in 2011.
Yeah, that was a very.
2011 is when I got the gold NWC.
No, I know that. I couldn't remember if we played him again last year. That was
we did it 2011. Remember, we rallied. We only had 10,000 left.
Yeah, we almost shut down.
We almost shut down. And that's when we did the whole staring at the screen.
Yeah, I stared at the camera. You stared at the camera. We stared at the camera for like 30 seconds, and magically thousands of dollars appeared in the.
It was really bizarre.
In the bin. Yeah.
I should have put that video out. Did I do that one?
I don't think you did because it would have been that was second year. You didn't do anything for second year.
I didn't do that even. I thought I did one or two. Maybe I didn't. Marathon moments, but yeah. And the third year was the events that we never got to because we only hit 16 or 17.
Yeah, you're right. 25. So I think that was on the list, but we never did it.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm looking forward to it quite a bit.
It's gonna be fun. It's always a blast. It's always good. Like I said, we got a better webcam this year. We got the mixer. God, we're gonna love this thing because we just slide it in and out. The NES is gonna go into here. We'll be able to actually have separate NES audio, unlike last year where we had a mic the room because again the device decided to fail that week after we tested it. Right. So basically, in the 3 years it was USB ports failing before. Or that cheap device stopped working. My motherboard literally blew up 2 weeks before either the second or third marathon, I forget. I think it was the second marathon. It blew up, and then I had to replace it with Windows 7, which then I had to learn. Trust me, going from XP to Windows 7 was not easy. That took me like 4 months. So that was bad, and then the software was bad the first year, and we almost killed each other the first year. So yeah,
Pretty
but we
sure we've
survived.
pretty sure we've almost killed each other at least once each year.
No, but the first year was.
Well, the first year was vicious.
Yeah, exactly. It was vicious. Plus, we weren't as close as we are now, so it was like more like we're gonna really kill each other. You know?
I remember.
Plus, you really didn't understand me yet. After that, I think you did.
I don't think
So.
you understood me.
I think I still understand you.